What is up, YouTube? Third Impact here, bringing you the new episode of Space Dandy, episode 12, titled Nobody Knows the Chameleon Alien, Baby. And after getting a bunch of episodes of Space Dandy in a row where I felt they were really going for something specific with those episodes, whether it be the emotions, the visuals, the complicated script, I felt like this episode really went back to the roots of Space Dandy and really just had the gang out on their adventures trying to capture an alien for some Wulongs, and that was just the entire premise of the episode. And beyond that, it was just the shenanigans that they were getting up to along the way, the battle with the chameleonian alien, and some recurring jokes with Scarlet, and they brought back all the cast. They had Honey, they had Dr. Gel, so just a great, classic feeling Space Dandy episode. So in trying to find this chameleonian alien that Scarlet suggests they look for because it's worth a ton of Wulongs, they end up on this planet fishing for some reason. I don't quite remember why they thought that fishing would be a good idea to find this chameleonian, but QT gets really into the fishing. It's really funny. She starts speaking like tons of English, and I don't know. It was weird, but it was funny. I liked how into fishing QT got, and she eventually catches it eventually catches this black Tsukimoni, something like that, and it's kind of like a big deal. It's the biggest one QT's ever caught, and they keep it. But then they catch what they think to be the chameleonian. When they bring it to Scarlet, it ends up just being a regular chameleon, and therefore it's not worth any Wulongs, because this isn't a zoo, this is an alien registration office. But that also kind of confused me. Like, even though we're living in the far future, and if you're just looking around at all the different life forms just standing in the same room as you, humans make up a pretty small portion of, like, overall population. So why is it that they're still judging what is and isn't an alien based on the life form from Earth? I don't know, it seems strange to me, but I'm pretty sure that was done as a joke. You're supposed to pick up on that and think that it's kind of weird and doesn't make any sense. So they wake up the next day and something's messed with all of their things and they don't know what's going on. So they do a roll call, and this entire time there's this random dude who we suspect is the chameleonian just standing in the same room with them, just chilling. And they do a roll call. The random dude calls off 4, and they all freak out and are like, "What's going on? There's something going on here. We have to find this chameleonian." But it's like, I know that they set them up to be idiots, but I mean, that was just so stupid. And they start looking through their ship, and Dandy, you know, the chameleonian alien, tricks him into thinking he sees 2 meows, and he captures the wrong one. Bring him in to get registered, nothing. And it's like, if you guys screw around anymore, you guys are gonna get banned or whatever. So they leave, and they go back to the Aloha Oe, and Danny decides to listen to some music. And this is the clip that's from the teaser for the next episode. So he puts his cassette into his like cassette player, and it's like, be my baby, be my baby, be my baby, be my baby. Like, I know it sounds weird, but that's literally what it sounds like, because the chameleonian alien is the radio or the boombox, so he's messing with the sounds and doesn't sound right. But they're like listening to it for a little bit, like trying to like dance to it, thinking that it's real. Hilarious, but like it sounds so weird. And this is one of those things where I haven't seen the dub for this episode, and I'm very curious to see how they dubbed what that boombox sounded like, because it sounded hilarious, and I want to know what it sounded like in the dub too. So that was something. So then similar occurrences happen with QT, and poor QT is all tied up by Dandy and taken in to get registered by Scarlet. And before that they can even decide which one is the real one and which one isn't, the chameleonian escapes, and they get banned from the alien registration office for good. So that's over. And they go back to the ship, and now this time the chameleonian is disguised as Dandy. And they get into an argument. We're trying to figure out who it is, and the only way that QT has decided we can figure this out is by having like a is that your final answer, like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire sort of quiz style show in order to decide which of these dandies is truly legit. So Dandy's first question is, when you hear the word buttocks, what do you think? And in classic Dandy fashion, he answers, a perfect ass. Wow, good job, Dandy. Congratulations. Anyways, moving on. When we ask Chameleonian Dandy what he had for dinner last night, he can only respond with, how am I supposed to remember that? Like, come on now. So we quickly learn that Dandy is so dumb that when he can't think of an appropriate answer for a question, it's just expected of him because he's so stupid. And the Chameleonian can also just easily predict an answer that Dandy would say, and they would just believe that it's something he would say. So this quickly becomes very confusing, and they lose track of which Dandy's the actual Dandy. And the Chameleonian actually sticks up for QT and Meow at one point when Dandy tells him to shut up or something. He's like, hey, leave my friends alone. So then QT and Meow are like, well, we can't really figure out who the difference is, like what the difference is between these two Dandies, and hey, this one's nicer to us, so I guess we're just going to take this one. So it's like, oh shit, like, the Chameleonian's going to be decided as the real Dandy? But then Dandy speaks up, they continue to argue back and forth, but then they get into such a conundrum of who's who, the Chameleonian convincing Dandy that he is him, that the Chameleonian convinces himself that he is Dandy. And he doesn't know whether or not he was Chameleonian before, or whether he is Dandy now. And in the same way, Dandy's confused. He doesn't know. Maybe he was a Chameleonian and turned into Dandy, forgot that he was ever a Chameleonian. And from that point on, we only ever see one Dandy. Well, we see the two Dandies later on, but when we do see the two of them, we're not sure which one's which. So when we see Dandy coming to a revelation, it's kind of meant to be both of them. He comes to the revelation that he's never going to know whether he's the Chameleonian or not, but because he's Dandy, whatever, he doesn't care. And, yeah, from there on, Dr. Gel shows up with his secret weapon, but the Chameleonian and Dandy are now, like, perfectly cool. They're just chilling with each other. Dandy gets distracted for a minute, bends over to pick up a 50 oolong coin, and this arm comes down and grabs the Chameleonian Dandy. And Dr. Gels thought he's caught Dandy for good, but when he turns around, the Chameleonian's now Dr. Gel, and we see that this Chameleonian Dr. Gel drives Dr. Gel to insanity. And the episode just ends with the gang hanging out at Boobies, with the narrator saying how, you know, you can never truly know if somebody that you know or think you know so well is actually a Chameleonian. And I think it almost tried to make it seem like, well, Dandy doesn't even really know, but would it matter? We see the Chameleonian get picked up by Dr. Gel at the end, so we know that that Dandy is the real Dandy. But you know, who knows who out there is an imposter? And just a silly, you know, fun episode of Space Dandy. Wasn't trying to do anything crazy like the other ones. It was just a funny episode with some really awesome moments in it. Looks like next week we're going to be getting a QT romance episode, so this makes me very happy because ever since we got the Meow episode, I was saying, like, does this mean that we're going to be able to get some more backstory and characterization on some of the other characters, like QT? So if we're going to be getting a romance episode for QT, that's great. And I also just recently learned that I think Space Dandy is going to be going on hiatus after episode 13, and then it's going to be returning in July in Japan with the second season. I was confused there for a minute because I thought it was confirmed to always be like 26 episodes, and then I thought for a minute second season meant more after that. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be 13 and then a hiatus. But don't quote me on that. I will see you for my next episode review. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.